Warm welcome once again on Kakake, the African Voice. Always a pleasure to know you're still here with us. It's time for paper review, and we'll be looking at the national dailies and the very big front page stories that are captured by the papers this morning. And as you do know, our reviewers will be helping us analyze the stories, and we have Simon Reef Musa, the Alhaji, right here in the studio. Thank you so much.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Good to join you this morning.
How are you doing today?
That's
I've
funny.
given him
Doing
a
great.
title.
Alhaji Simon. That's funny.
Oh my God.
We also have joining us virtually Dr. Yobosa Ogeren is joining us on Zoom this morning. I wonder where he is. Are you in Sokoto or you are in Guangzong or Lagos or Benin?
Good morning. I'm somewhere in South.
Oh, okay. We're glad to know you're here with us, and thank you for joining all the way. So let's look at what the papers have got this morning. How are we beginning?
Yes, we start with this Nigeria, and it leads with the story 4,126 days after. Hope not lost on Chibok girls, Leah Sharibu, FG tells UK team. The writer says, at meeting with foreign delegation, National Security Advisor's representative, General Adamu Laka, says efforts to free kidnapped girls still on front burner.
All right, let's check out the Nigerian pilot, and the lead story there is 2027 presidency. Wait till 2031. SGF Akume admonishes northern politicians to wait till 2031 for presidential race. Says President Tinubu was on course to take Nigeria to promised land. Story you can find on page 4 of the paper. Then just below that, you have 4 dead, 5 missing in Jigawa canoe accident on page 5.
Now let's go to the Blueprint newspaper. At government citizen engagement, northern governors, ACF, NEF differ on region's democracy dividends. That's the lead story that you'll find flowing from page 1 to page 14 of the paper. And the writer says Tinubu has delivered tangible projects across region. NGF, Akume, Idris. Northern groups want Ajakuta agric education revitalized.
Let's see the National Star. That's the new National Star. North, not eligible for 2027 presidency. Akume is how he's leading. Urges zone to wait for 2031. North betrayed, marginalized by Tinubu. ACF on page 2 is where you find details of that. Federal government sues for calm as Nigerians must go protest. Rocks Ghana is also leading the paper this morning.
Okay, let's go to the leadership newspaper. Northern governors defend Tinubu as ACF says is unfair to North. That story is on page 4 of the paper. The writers say President insensitive to North's plight, says ACF leader Dalhatu. He has fulfilled promises made to the North. Chairman, Northern States Governors Forum. You'll find the details of that on page 4 of the paper.
And the Daily Trust, ACF says North sidelined as Tinubu's men showcase projects. And then you see pictorial stories there as well.
Okay, let's go to the next paper now, which is the People's Daily. And that tells you it's the same story we're looking at. North's challenges rooted in elites' complacency, institutional neglect. That's the top story on the front page of the People's Daily.
And then the Nigerian News Direct, renewed hope must not become recycled promises. Northern leaders want Tinubu meet in Kaduna to review Tinubu's 2-year performance. And then Tinubu will not leave any region marginalized, the SGF Akume says.
Okay, let's go to the Standard Times now, and it leads with the story, traditional rulers. Ohaneze rejects bill to make Sultan Oni permanent chairman. You'll find details of that on page 2 of that paper.
And let's see the Observer's Times. Akume, North should wait until 2031 for presidency. And then you have Lukman, political godfathers plotting ADC takeover as he urges David Mark to stop undemocratic takeover on page 1.
The Whistler is the next paper that we have now, and its lead story says, citing economic reforms progress, IMF upgrades Nigeria's 2025 growth forecast to 3.4%. Economic growth not sustainable with electricity crisis. That's according to Bismarck Rewani.
And the Daily Independent, despite GDP growth, structural challenges weigh down economy. Excess charge federal government on electricity, non-oil revenue, others. That's the bold one. Daily Independent.
The Daily Monitor is leading with the story, insecurity. Military will treat anyone supporting bandits, terrorists as an enemy of the state. CDS warns, says denying bandits, terrorists support crucial to their defeat. That story flows to page 2 from the front page of the Daily Monitor.
And next is the Daily Asset. Oluremi Tinubu in Makurdi seeks end to Benue killings. We have over 3,500 new IDPs. Alia, attackers come from Nasarawa retreat after strike, says Tor Tave.
Now let's go to the Tribune newspaper. That's Nigeria's oldest newspaper, actually. Presidency, North should wait till 2031. Akume, of course, George Akume is the secretary to the government of the Federation.
This is the New Telegraph. Do you have that?
No, but I can see what it says. Quality of elections still challenging at local government level. That's according to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. That's the top story on the front page of the New Telegraph.
All right, the Business NG's next. Tensions rise over Ghana deportation threats. Federal government urges calm. And then you have other business stories as well. On the front page, Naira strengthens as reserves top $39 billion. Okay, so we'll be bringing in our reviewers now to help us do some analysis of these major headline stories. Let's begin with you in the studio, Simon. And this one is this lead by This Nigeria. 4,126 days after hope not lost on Chibok girls. Leah Sharibu, federal government tells UK team. That's how This Nigeria is leading this morning.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite unfortunate that since the abduction of the Chibok girls and the non-return of Leah, with some others, we've really not found solutions on how we can bring them back. Of course, previous attempts by government have really not turned up anything. We saw how the international organization tried to collaborate to see how they can bring or they can return the Chibok girl. But the issue of security has always been a major threat to it. Now that the government said it has not given up, it tells us that they are determined to see if they can bring these girls. With Leah Sharibu, it's quite unfortunate. Unfortunately, the same thing that she has refused to renounce her faith, and it was on the basis of that she was refused to be returned to, to her home. But again, let's look at that at a larger perspective. The truth of the matter is the incapacity by government to bring back or to negotiate to bring back the Chibok girls amounts to a kind of a gross failure on the part of government. It didn't start here. It started since even before the Jonathan administration. Because Jonathan was really not convinced that the Chibok girls' abduction took place. He felt it was more of a political game. But again, with weeks and months, he came to discover that it took place. But he did not put certain things in place to ensure that the matter was a kind of combated. But again, when Buhari came with the idea of, or with the promise to combat insecurity, it was thought that this is a major general. This is a general, a former head of state. He's a military man. He could go after them. But unfortunately, there was nothing done. So for government coming now to say that they want to do something to bring them back, we don't want it just to stop at a verbal declaration. We want them to go all out to ensure that if there were negotiation, there will stop. Then they can go ahead and continue with the negotiation. But even before now, we have been told that Leah Sharibu had been converted to Islam. She is married and she also had a child by this time around. Well, those were reports, but they were not confirmed. But it gives me hope. It gives every Nigerian hope that the government has not let go of what had happened to Leah. To Leah. And we hope that those girls that are still in captivity, somehow government will play some magic and then ensure that they are returned to their parents.
Okay, Yobosa, what do you make of this headline this morning? This story saying hope is not lost on Chibok girls and Leah Sharibu.
Well, I hope they are right. But if you ask me, I think it is about they are just playing politics with the life of those innocent people who were kidnapped some years back. You are talking about after over how many years now? And you are still talking about that the hope is
11
not
years
lost
for the
about.
Chibok girls.
Exactly, 11 years. And you are still talking about the fact that they will still be returned to their family. But I hope they are not playing politics, because right from day one, when those guys were kidnapped, it was all about politics. For example, the Chibok girls, it turned out to be that it was all about the 2015 general election, and that the opposition wanted to remove Jonathan's by all means, and that it got to a point that they believed that the only way they can also blackmail the government of that at that time, President Goodluck Jonathan, was to instigate the arrest, the kidnap of those guys. And that's what we got to know through Jonathan, who said he was a victim of that Chibok girls kidnap. And almost 11 years after, we are still talking about the fact that they will be returned. Don't forget that when Buhari was campaigning during that 2015 general elections, he promised that if he was elected, that in the next, it will take him more than months before those guys are released. And after 8 years of Buhari government, nothing happened. And we are almost about 2 years of this government now. We are still talking about the fact that those guys will be released. But I think it's just mere politics. And if you ask me, I also believe that the family of those guys, have accepted what happened to them. And we got to know that some of those guys who were kidnapped have given birth. You remember when one or two of them was released some time ago, you were told that they've given birth, and some of them have even married up to about 2 or 3 wives. They keep on exchanging those girls with men. And for me, that was wicked on the part of the kidnappers, and it's also a failure of the government, whether at the federal government level or at the state level, their inability to release those girls after almost 11 years.
Yeah.
It is horrific.
Quite horrific, because sometimes you really wonder what this has done to the psyche of the people, their mental health and all of that, even when they are released eventually. But I'm sure the families will also be happy to see them come back alive and well. All right, let's look at the next story. This one is how the Daily Trust, the Blueprint, Leadership Pilots, People's Daily and News Direct, they are leading this morning. Wait till 2031. That's talking about 2027 elections. SGF Akume admonishes northern politicians to wait till 2021 for presidential race. I'm still staying with you, Yobusa. What do you make of this one as well? This is a political issue now.
Well, it appears that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led government is in a panic mood. Because if you watch what happened during the weekend, where virtually all key leaders of his government were deployed to Kano, to convince leaders of those zones that he's working for their interest. You remember that delegation was led by the SGF, Akumen, the national security advisors were there. All the media teams were all in Kano during the weekend, during the town, what I call the town hall meeting, to convince northern leaders that is working for their interest, and that they should wait in 2030 something before they can aspire to return to the presidency all over again. But if you look at what happened, it appears that the northern elders have made up their mind. What is paramount to them as I speak to you is that the power must return to the north in 2027. I think that is the agenda. And most of them who are not sensitive to the political equations of this country appear to be pushing that agenda, and that group is led by the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. This is exactly what happened to Jonathan in 2015 when they were against him, and it got to a point Jonathan was doing everything to please the North, hoping that that would change their mind against him during the election. And Jonathan did everything. Money was deployed. So many projects were deployed, all in an attempt to convince them that they should vote for him. But unfortunately, that never changed the perception, or that never changed the mind of the northern political elite. And that appeared what to be playing out now. And I can tell you, for some of us who have reported politics in the northern part of the country for a very long time, they have made up their mind. And what is paramount in their mind now is that power must return to the north in 2027. So no matter, I repeat, no matter what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will do now, even if divide this country and give them half of the resources of this country, that will not change their mind. Their mind is made up, is that power must return to the north in 2027. And for me, that is quite unfortunate, because we have a northern president, somebody from the north who was the president for 8 years, and he did everything to also empower them. And one would have expected that because of the political calculations in Nigeria, the power must rotate between north and south, even though that is not quite, that is not resonated with many parts of the country. But I thought that having been in government for 8 years, and the political elite should also respect that political arrangement and allow the southern part of the country to also finish the 8 years in government. It might not necessarily be President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have other people who are from the south who is aspiring to be president of this country in 2027. I think the northern political elite should respect that zoning formula, or that zoning agreement that has been existent for a very long time, because it is this move is capable of heating up the political tension of this country, especially when we have about 2 years to the presidential election. And like what I said last week, with this ongoing political permutation, it appears that the governor is at the back seat now. Nobody's talking about so many socio-political issues that is confronting this country. What we're talking about now is how to grab power in 2027. For me, that is quite unfortunate.
Okay, Simon.
Yeah,
You are from the north.
Yes,
What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, what I want to say here is that when you talk of the north, the way my colleagues simply say, like, the entire north is against, wants a power change, that presidency should return to the north. But again, in that meeting in Kaduna,
say some people are pushing
some people
from
are pushing from the north. I can tell you, it's people that are outside the corridors of power. They want to return to power. So they need to say something, they want to do something and shout. Now, when you talk of ACF is the Arewa Consultative Forum. For God's sake, must you concentrate on political power? Why are you not looking at insecurity? How do you galvanize your people? How do you rally the people, Northerners, to come and resolve this issue of insecurity? Why are they not talking about that? Now, when you even look at it, when you talk of elders, who are the elders? Governors, all the northern state governors in the north said they support Bola Ahmed Tinubu to return in 2027. The Emir of Daura said the same thing. And I know there are so many other people, considering what has happened in the last 2 years, they see hope. Whether that hope has been translated into something we can embrace is another thing. But again, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So you cannot tell me that the North is pushing. No, some elements, some people that are outside the corridors of power are insisting that the president has neglected them, that the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has neglected them.
Do they have genuine concerns?
I don't see that concern. Taking into consideration what happened during the last 8 years of the Buhari administration. Because we saw what we saw. And at the end of the day, when you look at the projects the administration is talking, and I think the communication team, are doing a lot of things to tell you, okay, this is what we have done, this is what we have done. Because I read a press statement by, I think, Sunday Dare, who is the special advisor communication, when he was responding to what Kwankwaso said, that Tinubu was neglecting the North. Now, if you look at that statement, it tells you, it lists all the projects that was being handled in the North. To me, it was an opportunity. It was as if Kwankwaso was trying to market Tinubu because he gave him a platform, and they came out with all the facts and figure. Remember, the oncology centers in all the geopolitical zones have been opened. And we know what cancer patients have passed through, the harrowing experiences. And by so doing, they are able to reach out to all those people that are in distress. So I don't accept the fact that the North, majority of the North, is against Tinubu. It's simply a thing of politicians playing their game. At the end of the day, see, I don't see any tension. There is no tension. The tension is only on the pages of newspaper and screaming. At the end of the day, nothing will happen. I'm telling you this. Okay, nothing will happen.
All right, Simon.
That's the truth.
Let me quickly, some of our viewers have jumped into the discourse this morning, and I'm looking at comments from David Aboki, who says the North should wait till 2031.
Yes.
But there will still be presidential elections in 2027 between Tinubu and other southern candidates. And we also have Michael Efedi, who said they gave Goodluck Jonathan the same hope. Plenty of comments coming in. Iloriola Bomayawa says, since 1999, the North has ruled for 10 years, while the South has ruled for 16 years. North has been shortchanged. So you see, the discussion goes on, but let's move on to another issue now, to review another headline. And this one is on the front page of the Standard Times, which says traditional rulers, Ohaneze rejects bill to make Sultan Oni permanent chairman. Yobosa, this debate on whether or not these two traditional rulers should be permanent co-chairmen of the National Council of Traditional Rulers has jumped onto the pages of newspapers right now. Where do you stand?
Ridiculous bill that is before the National Assembly. Very ridiculous. And it is very provocative. You know, in a country where you have almost about 200 million people with different traditional rulers from different geopolitical zones, and somebody somewhere is suggesting that two traditional rulers from the north or from the southwest should be made to permanent a member in that traditional council. For me, it is annoying. It is very provocative. What yardstick do they use in determining that? I think for us to avoid this kind of provocative issues in the country, those who are behind the bill should have a rethink, because it is capable of generating another huge controversy within our politics in this country. What yardstick do they use in determining that? That the fact that Oni of Ife and the Sultan of Sokoto should be a permanent member. You know, for example, let me tell you, one of the most respected traditional rulers we have in this country today is the Oba of Benin. Where is his space in that? Where is the space of the Asaba of Asaba? Where is the space of the Obi of Onitsha? You know, so where's the space of the top chief in Benue State? So for me, it is the most ridiculous. Exactly, that's what I said. I said the Oba of Benin. So for me, I think it is the most ridiculous bill before the National Assembly. Like I said, one of the most respected traditional ruler we have in this country today is the Oba of Benin. I was saying that is not important when we're talking about traditional councils, institution. You know, for God's sake, I think those behind the bill should have a retain, because this issue is capable of plunging Nigeria into a very serious crisis. It makes no sense. As a matter of fact, at this time when we're having other socio-political issues, I think that should not be the issue that we'll be focusing on. let's leave it for now and move on with other things that will better the life of Nigeria. For me, it's very ridiculous, and those behind it should be asked to rethink about what they are doing.
All
I
right,
think
we are
I want to say something here. It's quite unfortunate that somebody like Senator Simon Lalong brought up that bill, and he was one of the promoters. He sponsored that bill that the Sultan of Sokoto and the Oni of Ife should be co-chair permanently. It's quite unfortunate in a nation of over 300 ethnic nationalities, you are carrying just two people and say they should represent. And even Simon Lalong, coming from the north, insists that the Sultan should be the chairman to represent the north. It's quite sad. It tells you a reflection of a slavish mentality, because that is what I see. But at the end of the day, my friend here was talking about Oba of Benin. I also have a paramount ruler, Agwam Okulu. That is my own paramount ruler. So in a democracy, you have to take everybody along. It's not just for you to just take two people and promote them over others. What about the who carry paramount ruler? He's a powerful person.
What about the Obi of Onitsha?
What about the Obi of Onitsha? Do you understand? If you are saying you are looking at the ethnic the ethnic composition, you can't just take two people and say they should do that. And it's even wrong. We should be reviewing that law that says at every month we give traditional rulers a certain part of money to them. Let the people take care of them. I find a situation now, since we are having this paucity of funds, let every ethnic nationality take care of its traditional institution. Right. I think that is the best, instead of bringing another thing. But as far as I'm concerned, that bill is dead on arrival. It will go nowhere. Yes.
Okay, so we wait and see how the National Assembly deals with that. We'll be thanking you now, Dr. Yobosa Wajere, there for your contribution on the paper review this morning. Do have a great day.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Yobosa. And of course, we will just take a quick look at the one last thing before we go. And Observer's Times is where we're going next. Simon, Lukman, political godfathers plotting ADC takeover. A quick comment there.
Well, there are more problems beseeching the ADC than any other party. Of course, the ADC is supposed to be an opposition platform, and some of us are praying that something good will come out of it.
All right.
But let me also tell you that with the issue, with the confusion, with the controversy trailing the affairs of the ADC, I think it will be a difficult road to tread.
All right. Yeah. We are going to have to leave it there this morning. Thank you very much to Simon for coming on the program. That's how far we can go with the newspaper review on Kakaki.